Welcome to Retirement with Jim. So, how long is your plan for retirement? 20 years? 30 years? So, before we get started, if you like my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It helps my channel grow. Like the videos, it helps the channel also. And feel free to leave comments. Love to hear from you. So, how long is your plan for the length of your retirement? Used to be 20 years was kind of like what people did for on an average. But with today, people living longer, really you got to plan for a 30-year retirement to have enough money and to outlive yourself, or at least time it to the end as close as you can. Um, One of the things is healthcare cost. So healthcare costs, your Medicare coverage, living longer means you gotta have the proper healthcare coverage so it doesn't kill your retirement, by sucking all the money out of it. So you got to make some plans for that. You really got to give healthcare some real serious consideration, looking at your personal health and what you think your family history is going to provide in terms of how long you may live. So, food for thought there. Along with that, as you're planning for your retirement, you want to, of course, pay off certain things. You want to pay off, of course, all your credit card debt, your car, and your house if you can. Doesn't have to pay the house off, but if you do, it's a huge blessing if you do. It's just money you don't have to worry about. You just have to take care of taxes yearly and your insurance. If you got an HOA, you got to take care of paying your HOA, but your costs go down substantially. Next on that list is kind of like when to claim Social Security. Now, that's a very debatable issue for a lot of people. So for me, I took it at full retirement age. Made the most sense. I wanted that amount of money that was guaranteed, in my Social Security that's coming to me. I couldn't see myself working to 70. Some people do, but I think more people are inclined to get out and or get out early, let alone at full retirement age. Full retirement age meant I already could take care of Medicare and my healthcare costs, so it made kind of sense, to do that. But you gotta give some serious thought to, what your retirement age for Social Security and when to claim it is going to be. The balance of your portfolio. It needs to be balanced for risk management, and especially as you now get closer to retirement, you gotta go, okay, I want the portfolio to keep growing, so you probably have maybe at least some risk in there, but you want to be able to say it's balanced enough so that it continues to grow but your money is safe. Difficult thing to do nowadays, with the current administration, the current status of Wall Street. You gotta go, oh man, and that's a real tough one to balance out. It really is. You really have to give a lot of thought and maybe get some help, from a financial planner who can give you some advice as to, where to go and in terms of what your balance should be, and so give that some thought. So, are you saving enough between, as you're putting your plan together? Are you putting enough money away in your 401k or your IRAs, to be able to live that comfortable life you want? You aren't necessarily looking to be rich, but people don't change their spending habits too much. And so what they've gotten used to through all the years, they're not so inclined to want to change that. So you got to really give a lot of thought as to, have you saved enough? And if anything, try to oversave. Try to put more money away, to be able to just make that retirement easier to do. Inflation. Inflation can really hurt. I have to say that I didn't give inflation enough thought. Now, it hasn't hurt me tremendously, but it has hurt because For instance, I have a food budget, a gas budget. And neither one did I take into that much consideration when it came to inflation. I probably should have. Not a disaster, but certainly think about what inflation will cost you. So it can take a big bite out of your budget and make you reassess and kind of crunch the numbers even some more. So, got to stay hydrated. It's hot. Yesterday I didn't go out. It was 117 out here in Vegas. I think we were Vegas. Excuse me, Phoenix. We almost think that we're sitting on the sun at 117. Today a little cooler at 105. I can deal with it. So next up on my list is the emergency fund. Emergency fund, you really got to make sure you've got one that is going to help you out. Because when you think about it, once you are retired, you don't have, that steady job anymore. You don't have that steady income that can absorb something that, like if the car breaks down or something goes wrong at the house that requires additional maintenance and work that you have to get done. So think about making sure you properly fund yourself with an emergency fund so that you can really not have to dip into any of your 401k or any of that, and you keep that or your savings. You just want simply to have a separate fund that is strictly for nothing more than the emergencies, because it can really help. I know my car broke down not too long ago and had to get it fixed. Cost me $800. Not terrible, but you know what? If you aren't prepared for it, oh man, it can hurt. Same with housing. Your house, something goes wrong. I had to do some plumbing work, hire a plumber. All came out in the end, but again, if you aren't prepared for it, it can take a bite out of, what your funds are. So with that, let me know how you're doing. Let me know what your plans are for. Have you thought about it? As a 20-year retirement, a 30-year? What's your thoughts? So let me know in the comments below. So with that, I'm going to tell you have a great day, and I will see you in the next one.